Good morning, everyone. This is Mike O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for October 20th, 2022, around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot to talk about today, including a hurricane threat increasing for portions of Mexico. How deadly could this system be, and what to expect over the next couple of days? So let's go and jump straight into everything. Taking a wide look across the tropical Atlantic this morning, we noticed that not much is occurring out there right now. We do have a few tropical waves, one near the Lesser Antilles right now, and a few that are out there in the tropical MDR, but certainly nothing of concern over the next several days. And in fact, most of the weather across the basin remains pretty quiet as we start to ramp down the hurricane season, but still do not let your guard down. There is still some signals of potential development within about a week or so, so definitely something to kind of keep in mind. While we are also watching a system in the East Pacific that could go on to become a hurricane. Closer into the Lesser Antilles at this point, we notice that there is a tropical wave currently that is located to the east of Barbados. This system may work its way into the Caribbean over the next couple of days, producing some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity, but certainly nothing that is out of the ordinary for this time of the year, and certainly nothing significant, but still some heavy rainfall, gusty winds from time to time could be expected. And in the Western Caribbean and portions of the Southern Gulf of Mexico, not much is going on this morning. We noticed that there is still some shower and thunderstorm activity associated with that cold front, but nothing significant at this time, and certainly nothing that is out of the ordinary. So scattered shower and thunderstorm activity portions of the Yucatan, that is really about it at this time. However, in the East Pacific Basin, we are monitoring a new tropical system, Tropical Depression 19, has formed, and this now, according to Best Track, is now a tropical storm, and this will be moving off towards the northwest over the next couple of days and could strengthen into a hurricane. If you look at the track forecast for this next tropical storm, we notice that this is expected moving northwest over the next couple of days, and then it will be moving off towards the north and eventually northeast, curving back into portions of coastal Mexico, making landfall likely as a Category 1 hurricane sometime on Sunday morning or afternoon, and then eventually moving over across portions of Mexico, then dissipating across the high train. This could cause some very significant flooding rainfall across some of these areas, as well as high wind. If you look at the visible satellite imagery for this morning, we notice that the convective bursts have continued throughout the overnight and growing into this morning. We notice that the low-level circulation has begun to tighten up, and now we are starting to see the consolidation process of this circulation into a more tighter, robust one, and this will likely continue to aid in the organization and strengthening over the next several days. Looking at the water vapor satellite imagery for this particular system, we notice that there is some dry air lurking off towards the north, and that might be the one hindering factor for this particular system. Of course, because this is a circulation, this will pull down some of that dry air from the north, and so if this gets ingested into the circulation in the core, it might end up disrupting the overall organization and intensification for at least a temporary time. If you look at the GFS forecast evolution of this particular system, we notice how quickly organized it gets within just a matter of about a day or two. This rapidly develops into a hurricane, potentially a powerful hurricane, and moves rapidly off towards the north and west before eventually recurving back into portions of coastal Mexico. And so even though this might actually be weakening on approach, it will still bring the potential for significant storm surge, heavy rainfall, and gusty winds. Of course, that is a threat with any tropical system, but certainly elevated with this one. Looking at the wind gusts for this particular system, we notice how strong it gets within a short magnitude of time here, and this is reflective of the very supportive environment for additional intensification and perhaps rapid intensification. Again, this will weaken on approach in towards coastal Mexico. We see on the GFS that it does actually lose some of its core wind field. However, some of those winds will still be strong, gusting potentially over 100 miles per hour at the point of landfall. So certainly going to be very hazardous and certainly will prevent from first responders, and of course will bring the threat for storm surge. Of course, heavy rainfall will also be a very significant issue as well. We can see on the GFS rainfall forecast that as the storm grows closer, of course, you get the heavy rainfall now spreading inland. And some of these totals, especially right near the coast, are nearing about 7 inches in spots. So this could be a very significant issue, especially portions right along the coast and in the higher elevations. Now, taking a look here at the United States weather for today, we notice that it is pretty quiet across most of the central and eastern U.S. We've noticed that we had a cold front that dipped southward over the past couple of days, has now exited the entire United States, including Florida, and temperatures behind this front have been quite cool. We know some temperatures across portions of the Florida panhandle even getting down into the freezing mark. So some very cool air that's come down from, of course, Canada. But temperatures will rebound and moderate over the next couple of days. But so far, it's pretty quiet, except for portions of the northern U.S. where there is still some cold rain ongoing. If we actually look here at the northern United States, we notice that there is still some rainfall ongoing. This is cold rain. Temperatures are barely just above freezing, so it's going to prevent any significant snow or icing event. However, as temperatures begin to fall overnight, some of this rainfall that has fallen on some of the bridges, overpasses, and of course, some of those side streets will begin to freeze over. So certainly not the best of driving conditions overnight, but just a dark, gloomy day up there for sure. Temperatures for the next 48 hours across portions of the eastern United States will definitely favor a lot of cool shots still. Multiple cool nights incoming for at least the next 2 days. We could see temperatures even into the Florida panhandle getting down closer to freezing there, about 35 degrees down there closer to Tallahassee and Jacksonville. Certainly cooler air, but it will be moderating and getting warmer, especially in the south over time. Looking at the drought monitor for the United States, we noticed that almost the entire western and midwestern part of the U.S. is under at least some sort of drought, with even abnormally dry conditions into the Florida panhandle. Now, of course, the Florida peninsula is fine because, of course, all the rain from Hurricane Ian, but most of the U.S. is not doing okay, and hopefully that will change, but no change in sight for now. The 5-day quantitative precipitation forecast, just a measure of how much precipitation is expected to fall over the next 5 days from the CPC outlook. We noticed that there will be some rainfall relief across portions of the Midwest, including Dallas, Oklahoma City, up there to Kansas and Omaha and Minneapolis. However, this is not expected to be drought-busting rain at all. And certainly for most of the eastern and northeastern U.S., there's not really much rainfall expected over the next several days. Virtually no rainfall in Florida at all for the next 5 days. So certainly dry conditions to be expected across most of the eastern U.S. Anyway, I do hope you have a great rest of your afternoon, evening. Of course, I am Michael O'Malley, and I'll be talking to you guys again some more tomorrow.